Hello again. Welcome to week 20, day 2. We had a very long reading on Monday, so we'll have a very short reading today. This is an excerpt from the book on the Incarnation by St. Athanasios the Great. He wrote this during the controversy about whether Jesus Christ was fully God or not, which was a very significant, it was a big argument. It was a big fight, honestly, through most of the 4th century and even later. So St. Athanasios the Great was the Bishop of Alexandria in Egypt, and he wrote in defense of the Orthodox doctrine about Jesus Christ and his full divinity. One of his more important books and most well-known writings is this book on the Incarnation, which talks about how and why Jesus Christ became a human being, why the second person of the Holy Trinity became a human being, and what he accomplished in so doing. So that's what our excerpt is. So St. Athanasios says, "The Lord did not come to make a display or to show off. He came to heal and to teach suffering men. If he had wanted to make a display and show off, the thing to do would have been just to appear and dazzle the beholders with an impressive vision. But he came to heal and to teach. And the way to do that was not just to dwell here with us, but to put himself at the disposal of those who needed him, and to reveal himself to them only as much as they could bear it, so that he didn't destroy the value to them of his divine appearing to them by exceeding their capacity to receive the gift." Now this is very dense, actually. There's a lot going on here. First of all, what St. Athanasius says here about how Christ appears to those who follow him, revealing his divinity only as much as they can endure, this is a line we actually hear repeated in the Apolitikion, the dismissal hymn, sort of the theme song of the Feast of the Transfiguration on August 6th, when Jesus reveals his divinity to Peter and James and John on Mount Tabor. This is an icon that we have in our church at St. George. Many churches will depict this. It's a common icon to see, showing Christ in brilliant white on the top of the mountain, with Peter, James, and John all falling down the mountain with covering their faces, and Moses and Elijah are there on the mountain with Jesus. So he's showing them his divinity, but he's not destroying them with this revelation. And that's important, because if Christ had showed his full divinity, if he didn't veil his power and his glory, they would have been blinded. Everyone who saw him would have been blinded. They would have been destroyed. So it is very important, not least, that we remember Christ comes to us accommodating himself, condescending, lowering himself to make himself accessible to us. And that actually meets with a lot of the criticisms that sometimes people might make. They sometimes will say, well, if God is real, why doesn't he just show himself to me in a way that I can't possibly doubt or question? And this is the answer. If God showed himself to us in a way that we couldn't question or doubt or wonder about, then we're done. We either make the right decision right then, or we're condemned, because we've seen the fullness of his glory. And to see actually the fullness of his glory, again, we could not bear it. This is eternal God. This is the infinite creator of all things. If creation itself, if the entire apparent infinite magnitude of the universe can't contain God because he created it, he holds it in the palm of his hand, how can we expect our small brains, our limited faculties, our material eyes, our physical reality, how can we expect to stand and survive in the presence of God? So this is the main point that St. Athanasios is making. More than that, he says Christ doesn't come to destroy us. Rather, he comes to teach us and to heal us. And for this reason, He doesn't just come and dwell with us, although he does do that. He comes and lives with us. But he doesn't just sort of, go out and watch and see what we're doing, which again he could have done. He lives in our midst, and he teaches and he heals. He works salvation, as the psalmist says, in the midst of the earth. And he did so when he was walking the earth 2,000 years ago. He has done so in the whole course of history since, and he is still doing so. And indeed, he was doing so from the very foundations of the world. But now, he has come to us these last 2,000 years in a way that we can comprehend, in a way that we can encounter him and receive him. And he is changing, he is healing, he is transforming us and calls us to grow in his image and likeness. So, this is what St. Athanasios is saying is the whole point of the Incarnation. So if sometimes we're disappointed that Jesus doesn't do more impressive miracles, or even if we are disappointed that we don't see, again, big deals like the parting of the Red Sea, let's remember, the greatest miracle of all is the changing of a human heart. And while all the miracles, all the magnitude and the wonders that God did for the people of Israel while he took them out of Egypt, those didn't change Pharaoh's heart. They weren't even particularly successful at changing the hearts of the people of Israel. But when Christ comes, lowly and meek and loving us, present with us, that begins to change the world. So, anyway, this is what St. Athanasios has to say about the Incarnation, and there's a lot more there, so see what you can find. For now, God bless you all. I'll see you on Friday for day 3.